of course, is the Robert DuVernay Show. Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday. It's 8 p.m. It's the Robert DuVernay Show. Again, please log in now, call a friend, let them know the Robert DuVernay Show is live. Again, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert DuVernay Show. Thank you, those of you already logged in. I'd like to thank you. I would like to thank each and every one of you, those of you already logged in. We'd like to take this moment to remind you that the Robert DuVernay Show comes on every Monday at 8 p.m. We encourage you, those of you who have not subscribed, tell a friend to subscribe. And if you have subscribed, I'll encourage you to make sure you click on the actual bell. In other words, once I make an announcement or there's a program schedule, you would automatically get a notification. Again, I'd like to give kudos to all of you who already logged in. Keep those logging in coming in. Again, this week what we have on the agenda for you is, of course, the census. The census results have come out this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those of you who know that the census comes out every 10 years. Every 10 years, the United States government conducts what you call a census. A census gives us a state of the nation in terms of population. If there has been some state who have gained, and they have some state who've lost. And this is also a reason why I'm bringing census into the fold, is the fact that as savvy subscribers as you are, you know that this is a time that the government will appropriate seats to those in Congress. And then although these are done at the state level, it's very important that we stay in the fold. Again, those decisions are taking place at the state level. The House representative and at the state level, and the Senate, they are the one who actually create those seats. And again, it's very important that we keep the focus on politics, that we vote on a regular basis, and we elect leaders who reflect our values and also the things that matters to us the most. Again, today it gave us a snapshot. This is only the prelude of what is in detail, because what we learned today, that some states, particularly New York, has lost some seats because what they see is that there's a lot of some type of immigration. In other words, people are leaving New York to maybe go to some other states, and maybe they come to the state of Florida, which just said that I am. So people want to be closer to me. That who knows? And some are moving to some areas that we have not seen since 1930s. Based on the research that came in today, they concluded that this is the first time since 1930 that we don't see a pace in population. In other words, people are not having as many kids as they used to. So in other words, although we grew to 320 million, you probably ask the question, well, we didn't have 325 million Americans back in 1930. Yes, you're right. But again, you're looking at in terms of ratio. And so we're looking at the trend. The trend tells us that it's gone downward. So this is a thing that we need to keep an eye on, and because that will determine who wins seats and which state will be more critical when it comes to election. As you could tell, the state of Florida has gained some seats because everybody wants to be in Florida. Everyone loves the state of Florida, but you could see the past 3 census, the past 30 years, there's a trend going upward when it comes to Florida. So was New York, with the exception of this census. We saw a decline in New York. New York, the great state of New York, has gone somewhat on the low key. They're not popping kids as they used to, so people are leaving the state for a number of reasons. Maybe cost could be an issue, because normally we see California, for that matter of fact, a lot of people are moving to California, and we also see some trend in some other states like North Carolina and Virginia. Those are getting seats. So just stay tuned and keep those things in mind. as a new thing. So what we need to know, and that's that report that came out today, which would not know until August, because it's scheduled for August 16th. This is where they will have a more comprehensive report as far as gender, race, ethnicity, and of what makes up of that report from the U.S. Census Bureau. So stay tuned for more. Again, that was one section here that we wanted to touch base on. Next thing we have, of course, is this week, President Joseph R. Biden, Uncle Joe, will be delivering a joint session address to the nation. This is the first time since he occupied the White House he would have a joint session to both the House of Senate and the House of Representatives. Again, those of you who may be wondering, well, he always have a State of the Union? Well, I think after 3 months in office, after 90 days, he's going to present some type of a report to the state of the nation. Our union is still strong as ever, and he's going to give us some kind of a blueprint of what his aggressive agenda is for the next 4 years. These are the things that we should bear in mind, and these are the things that we as Americans should always be on the lookout for. See the State of the Union, what have we done, where we going, and what are the plans. As you know, in recent weeks, President Biden talks about a $2 trillion infrastructure bill that he wants to pass, just to fix bridges and highways and do some patch-ups, and that will also create tons of jobs, millions of jobs. Based on the estimation, this will create about 12 million jobs, and this will be great. I mean, there's a lot of work still to be done. We're still a young nation. In other words, we still have to fix our bridges and also our roads. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind. Okay. Again, last week, just a little recap on last week, we've heard the verdict of the George Floyd. Mr. Derek Chauvin, the former officer, was found guilty on all counts. His sentences will be determined sometime in June. So although the jury has reached a verdict, but the sentencing will definitely take place during the summertime. So yet I'd like to touch this briefly. We've seen this is the first time a police officer has been convicted of a crime and also found guilty. We've had cases before where public officials, police officers have been tried and they got acquitted. Well, this time was different, but I'm posing myself the question, has justice been served? Well, I could say this was a rhetorical question. I believe that this is a step in the right direction. I'm not completely satisfied because until I see reform, because what happened is if you're going to get fatigued with all this, I think this is not a time that we should sit back and say, well, justice was served. Justice was served to some extent. The justice will, I'd like this, what happened to Mr. Floyd, to serve as a, you could say, some type of a down payment. Put it this way, okay? They put it as a down payment for reform to take place down the future. I'd like for you to come in and then send me some questions. I'd like this to be interactive. I don't want you guys just sit back and, because the reason why I do this show here is for you. So I'd like to you to ask me some questions, things you may have that you've been pondering about, and ask some questions, and then I'd like to stimulate your mind with something. Now, let's say if we were to say, well, justice was served, and then this is going to be the blueprint. No, it's not the blueprint. You're going to start seeing blueprint when we as Americans, we start voting in district attorney at the county level. Because remember that this was not a federal crime. So oftentimes you let the federal government will come in if it was a hate crime. But yet what happened is it's happening too many times too often on the streets, where African Americans have been victim of gun violence and through, within themselves. The cops are not exempt. You're not exempt yourself. So I think the shooting should stop. And now when it comes to officials, someone with a badge, because when you take that badge, you took an oath to protect and to serve with integrity. So that's all we're asking of the police department. That's all we're asking of police officers. I'm sure there are some good cops. A lot of them are, a lot of friends of mine that are cops who are law enforcement officials. I mean, they're great guys. But again, there's always some that fall within the cracks. And I believe that there's ramifications when things like this happen, and we have backlash, we have protest, and I believe if we were to get involved, whereas we elect officials at all levels, the city level, county level, state level, eventually at the federal level, that's when we're going to start seeing changes. Because remember that changes always start at the grassroots. Grassroots right now is the city, the county, and the state. The federal government always come in as a big brother, so come in and clear things when things cannot be done at the local level. They come in because that's years and years later. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind. We would love to see some level of accountability at the police department, and then at this point, then I could say, well, Mr. Floyd's death was not in vain. He has been a martyr, yes. Reason I'm sure there are many blacks, African American, who have fallen victim of gun violence from public officials, from law enforcement, through no fault of their own. But again, this is the very first time that a police officer was tried and also convicted, and will be sentencing during the summer. So let's keep these things in mind, because there's more work to be done, and until we have a better picture of what we need to do, I think that there's still plenty of work to be done. Another thing I'd like to touch with you is that in the aftermath of Mr. Floyd's death, the state of Florida, I'm going to name 3 states that I want you to look into: Florida, Iowa, and also Wisconsin. They have recently passed laws that targeting folks who are protesting. Well, guess what? This is covered under the First Amendment. Peacefully assembly. The rights to protest far right. Yes, it is protected under our Constitution, but it's peacefully. I'm not here to condone anyone who have chosen to do otherwise. I believe if we stay within our parameters, if we elect public officials that resemble us, who support our values, then we'll probably have less protest. Now, the state of Florida has introduced a bill. I'm praying that this doesn't even see the light of the day, where they would have drawn, the police department would have drawn in to see, as long as 50 protesters in the crowd, anywhere 50 and upward, they could have drawn, and then to see who's out there in the event something erupted, they know who's out there, who to go after. But that right there, to me, that's a breach of confidentiality, a breach of personal information. And let's say, for instance, if some young kids at the University of Florida wanted to march against a particular issue that they're not happy with. Now, once you have those drawn and you have face recognition, you take these kids, you know exactly where they live, because the school, you can check the school database, you can check the DMV, you know where they live. I believe that's an infringement of your First Amendment. So it still talks. That's the reason why I'm putting emphasis on who we elect. And just before the top of the segment, I'll talk to you about the fact of the census, which shows that the state of Florida has gained some seats, and it's going to have at the federal level because more people are moving in Florida. So what does that tell you? And then these are the same guys who control the public officials right now at the House, the Florida House. They'll be the one drawing the map. And where there's something called gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is the fact that whoever in control of the Florida legislature at the time that the new map is drawn, these guys are very they're very funny and they're very artistic. What I'm saying, it may sound funny, but it's not funny, for the simple fact that they hold the last card, how the map is drawn. So in other words, you could be living in South Florida, and they draw a map, because all they need to get a district is 500,000 residents. When you have 500,000 residents in a district, that's right as a district. Okay? Now, they could draw it in such a way that they can do it with surgical precision. They know exactly what they can do, zigzag it. You could be my next door neighbor across the street from me, and then I'm voting to another precinct, and you're into a different precinct. Okay? Yet, we could be in two different districts. And we live right across the street from each other. What does that tell you? That surgical precision. That's how you dissect a population. That's how you control them. And that's the reason why we need to send folks at the House level and both the Senate level to represent your values. Things that will benefit you long after you're gone, that your children won't have to fight for. They will have better things to fight. They have to fight for climate change. Okay, the melting of the glacier, because we've seen sea rising. You know, these are a bunch of topics that we could go on and on. So I'm sure there is a bigger fish to fry. Let's do our part. Let's leave a legacy for future generations, because our forefathers, they left something for us that we can build on. Let's not get complacent. Let's get to work. Let's be informed, and let's go after these people. Let them know that we know what's going on, and it's not going to happen. That's what we need to do as Americans, and that's what I encourage you to do. All right. So it's very important that we keep those things in mind. And I've not seen any questions. I was hoping that most of you will send some questions. And I will definitely keep you posted as far as what's coming up. Again, with regards to these new laws that have been enacted, there has been 81 laws relating to protest since the George Floyd incident, June 25th of last year. So now you can tell that there's a particular segment of the population that these politicians in those red states are targeting. That's what I want you to think about. They don't care about you, really. Why? Less than a year, 81 laws have been enacted. 81. And I'm not talking about one state. 39 states altogether. But I would say the leading states are Florida is one, Texas, you know Texas, well, they're going to be there, and of course Iowa. They've enacted laws that are unprecedented. So these are the things we need to keep in mind, fellow Americans. I pray that you stay informed on every issues. The Robert DuVernay Show is here on a regular basis. Please send me your questions and your concern, and we will definitely bring it on the table and then dissect it for you and then break it down as A, B, C, D, and E, making sure that you understand what matters. Again, tonight I'd like to say good evening to all of you who have logged in. The show's gonna come to an end. Again, stay tuned for this week, State of the Union. President Biden will be addressing the nation. I encourage you to stay tuned and get some information and bring on the show. I may have to come back after the State of the Union to give you my points because We don't support a particular party here at the Robert DuVernay Show. We are independent minded because we're too big for a party. A party cannot contend us. We're too big for a box. So we present the evidence to you as knowledgeable viewers as you are, and then let you make the final decision. This is our job. This is the oath that I've taken since day one, to be extremely impartial in my judgment and the evidence that will be bring forth. Again, thank you, those of you who stayed with me until this hour. Again, I encourage you to tell a friend that the Robert DuVernay Show comes on every Monday at 8 p.m. Again, as you know, if it's Monday, it's nothing else. It's the Robert DuVernay Show. So stay tuned. I don't see any questions. I'd like to say good evening to Miss Jeanette Eustache Ambrose from the great city of Miami, Bernadette Ray Me, who logged in, Dr. Azor, who came in earlier today, as usual. Tap out to you. And of course, Dr. Geraldo DuVernay, thank you for logging in. Those of you who may be seeing this broadcast later on this evening, I encourage you to always tell a friend that if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert DuVernay Show. Stay tuned for more. I will be back with you here next week, which will be a new month. And this is our last show for the month of April. It has been a great month so far. And those of you who are celebrating today, we send kudos to you. Let a friend know that the Robert DuVernay Show is well alive. Oh, Dr. Azor just popped. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Breaking news. Dr. Azor just popped in here out of nowhere. And this is one of our colleagues that we look forward to see. She was with me on a show we had last week, Thursday, covering for Pastor Petroni, who was away on a special assignment. Dr. Azor and I, we had a phenomenal discussion with regards to issues relating to time management and wealth. Actually, we discussed wealth in length. And I encourage you to, those of you who watch the Robert DuVernay Show live, to log into the Sarah Petroni broadcast, and she comes on every Thursday at 7:30. Okay, and then definitely we would love for you to stay tuned and then sign on to her show. And it's a great show, and then every now and then you would get to see, of course, Dr. Azor. She's a regular on that show. And I really, that's a show that I really enjoy, and that we only have love between us, and that's the reason why I'm taking this little second here to showcase her show, and it's a great show, and I encourage those of you who have not signed up to go on to the Sarah Petroni show and log in. Okay, Dr. Azor just said she would love more details on the census. Thank you, Dr. Azor. Dr. Azor, you were missed. Okay, well, the census really came out today at 3 p.m. What we had today was a snapshot of the bulk of the news that will come out on August the 16th, 2 days after a big event that will be happening here in the state of Florida. Again, the census tells us that some states, particularly New York, has seen a decline in population. So therefore, that tells you that New York will lose some seats at the federal level. And some states have gained, like the state of Florida. I wonder why Florida keep going upward. I wonder if it's because I live here in the state. I happen to be a magnet for some other folks who choose to move down here in Florida. Okay, so I look forward to discuss that with you more in details. And again, our time has come to a halt. We will definitely explore that. The census, what we had today, Dr. Azor, was a snapshot of the census for 2020. We'll have more in details as far as the ethnicity, race, gender, of somewhat of what really the census of 2020 consists of. Again, it was a snapshot. There's more to come. Again, we look forward to your questions, okay? Florida is backwards. No, a state that where I live, you know, we're only moving upward, you know, and that's my state, Dr. Azor. I know you love the state of Florida, and Florida loves you as well. So thank you so much, all of you who've logged in, and we look forward to your questions. Again, I always look forward to your questions, and feel free, because the Robert DeVerney Show is here for you, and I pray that you make the best of this show. Ask questions, because there's a lot to be asked of. Again, stay tuned again for next week. We're gonna have another show of this caliber, and stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week. Until next time, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert DeVerney Show.